What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be focusing on showing you how to remove the steering wheel out of your car to replace it with a 2018 Mitsubishi equivalent from a RVR, Mitsubishi Mirage, and the Eclipse Cross, which all use the same spline. So if you're interested in this, please note that you will need to unplug your battery immediately before attempting this process. It's imperative because you can be in serious harm if you do not. So please disconnect your battery before attempting this. And note that you will be operating this steering wheel without your airbag. It will be present, but it will be not plugged in. The sensors or the plugs for the sensors are different. Thank you for watching, and I hope you find this video helpful. Basic layout of the wheel. There are two Torx bits, one on either side, that have to be removed. The Torx size is T10 or T15, something like that. Once those are removed, you can then extract the airbag unit out, and then you have to unplug this wire here. So please note that the power, the battery should be disconnected throughout all of this way before you attempt this, because you will make the airbag explode prematurely if you try to disconnect this yellow connector without first disconnecting the battery. Do not remove this pin, this plug, without first disconnecting the battery, both terminals. Once the airbag is completely removed, you will have to use another Torx to remove the cruise control. There are two bolts right here. And that's the way they went on before. So I'll just show you. Okay. So take them out. There are different sized Torx than the other. I used this kind of bit. It's a little bit larger, a little bit thicker. My guess would be it's a T25. But when you get in there, you can see. Now the next thing is to remove the locking nut for the steering wheel. So that is a size 17 millimeter, and it goes on just like that. And there's quite a bit of torque, so if you have a bar to take it off, that would be preferred. I've already pre-loosened everything. Now, there is really no way to do this without marking the steering wheel to the center bolt. So if you'll give me a moment, I'm just going to go and get some white out to mark everything. Perfect, but at least it will do to remove the steering wheel away from the housing. And so we will remove that and clear the wheel. You don't need them, but I need to use them because I've modified this radio. So you need them to control the radio from your wheel. So that's what I'm going to do next. So just extract them and take them off. Pardon me. Okay. One additional thing is that you have to remove with a very, very, very tiny Torx. I guess TT10 would be the number, and that's to remove these little screws on the inside that hold the metal to the plastic, and then you extract those out of the way and then the plastic will come freely. So struggling a little bit, but this is for those that wish to transfer over the whole wiring harness from the original car, which you will need. Okay, there's the steering wheel stripped bare. If necessary, the whole process can be reversed. Say you want to sell the car and keep the wheel. There's the cruise control. If you need to make a template in the new wheel, you can use this hole as a template, and then you can cut it very nicely into the new steering wheel if you wish. A good rule of thumb is always put back the screws or the bolts where you found them. That way you don't lose track of anything. But this is the harness that you'll need, that contains the trigger, everything you need. So you will need I guess an Eclipse cross steering wheel. An RVR or a Mitsubishi Mirage will work as well. And I've already damaged this one a little bit because of, you know, just day-to-day use. But when I got it, it was in much better condition, and I haven't cleaned it or anything. So anyhow, the first thing you'll need to do is splice the horn ground, which I have done. And I'm going to cover that with some either a cap or black tape or both, but I will tape it up, and I will tape it up nicely. After that, you get the wire that was responsible for the steering wheel controls and plug them in. Later, if you want to, you can figure out how to splice in all the different connectors so that you can use the actual you know, seek and volume up, volume down. The call you won't be able to use. You might be able to rewire the cruise control to make it work, but I'm just trying to show you how the steering wheel goes in and that it works. The spline is exactly the same on newer Mitsubishis than this car, go figure. I don't know about the Endeavor, but I do know about the RVR, the Mirage, and the Eclipse Cross, all of which will use a similar wheel like that on the top end. So all you do is, first you have to run these wires through the steering wheel. So my suggestion is disconnect the battery of the car, of course, plug them in. Anyhow, you can run the wiring any way that you like. So you just pop on like that. Now you need to pay attention because you have to fish the wires through first. So just watch me as I go through that. So if you can see here, avoid running the pins through any of these holes. These holes will connect to the airbag at 3 points. You can kind of see them there, 1, 2, 3, one on the bottom where my thumb is. Here, everything with a spring, you see. And in order to remove the airbag for future use, all you need is a flathead, and you push hard on, I will show you later, you push hard on each of these clips, you'll push them toward the middle, toward the Mitsubishi symbol, and push in and pull at the same time, and you should be able to pop it loose. Just take your time with it. There's no rush. Splice them, organize it so that they come out exactly where you want. And what I suggest is that you run the wiring in the back through here. This used to be for a screw that holds this component in. However, it's free to, it's quite solid even to leave it like that. You see? And it still works very well. So my suggestion to you would be to run it through here and then make a template of that and then use it to cut, Dremel, whatever you need to do, a small hole in there. And it's imperative that these things not move. When you put them in, they need to be set in place and they cannot move around. These little wires are particularly sensitive. They will definitely, how would you say, pop loose over time if you're not careful. And I don't know how much you can see there. They're very, very sensitive and they will pop loose. So you have to keep that in mind when you place them. So after this, I intend to Dremel the component in place, up or down. I'm not really sure which way, probably like that, and try to Dremel very carefully using whatever is existing. But I mean, you want a smallest hole as possible. That way you don't have to damage anything more than you need to. And so that's how you do that. And do everything nice and neat and orderly and nothing tight, too tight or cramped in place. Just nice and neat. So and as for the original airbag, of course I have to warn you that in, how would you say, you take your own risk with the airbag. Because I know so many tuners, I know that you guys are all running that old school Sparco style steering wheel, or whatever brand it is nowadays, that has no airbag, and people are perfectly willing to take the risk because 2006, you know, like an old airbag. This is a brand new airbag, but I can say right away that this airbag does not function apart from being aesthetically pleasing in this car. The connectors are all different. The connections are different. So you might be able to splice them in with a proper modulator that can correct the current, and you need to find out whatever current this thing has to run on so that it doesn't blow up when you connect everything. But for me, I'm like the guys that I don't care, honestly. I've been in no accident yet where, you know, the airbag went off, and you know, you take your own risk and you make your own decision. If you want this kind of steering wheel in your car, then bear in mind that you take the risk that the airbag doesn't work. But the steering wheel works perfectly fine. Maybe somebody will find a solution for us later on the forums. The next thing is to re-secure the nut and tighten it up. There's a tiny bit of a gap in between. You will never see it when you drive, but you will see it if you look at the steering wheel from the side, perhaps. But there's a tiny gap. It looks like a factory gap, actually. I shouldn't even mention it, but I'll mention it just for fun because I want you to know. And the gap is about 1/4 inch wide. On the original wheel, it's less than that. So everything is pretty much wired up now, and I'm pretty happy with that. So I will just let it click clip back in place nice and easy. Let's see how it goes. And there you go. So that's how you install a beautiful, I would say a very beautiful 2018 Eclipse Cross Mirage or RVR steering wheel in a 2008 Mitsubishi 2006 GT Eclipse.